Hi, viewers all over the world. Welcome to Climate Tube. Today we are sharing climate stories with Neeshad Shafi, who is the founder and executive director of the Arab Youth Climate Movement. You're welcome on the show, Mr. Neeshad.
Thank you, Tosin. Thank you. Very honored to be here today with you, Tosin.
Great, great, good. So, tell us what's the interest about climate change for you?
Well, back in 2015, when I moved here to Qatar from India, that's where I used to live. I had a master's degree in energy and environment engineer. When I came here, I wanted to do something on environment. Sort of thing. Then back then days, the climate stories wasn't that what you hear now. Very
Mm,
limited people, very limited audience. So when I started exploring some issues, which I studied as a part of my master's, climate was one of my master's thesis projects. So when I came here, climate was an intruding topic for me at a very personal level. And when I came to Qatar, started working on my professional life, then I wanted to sort of, build up a community talking about climate issues. Now
mm,
you hear a lot of people say why it is important to even talk about climate change.
mm,
Forget climate action, which government would be doing in their own way, but the
mm,
conversation is so important.
mm,
Back
mm,
then, I thought of starting that in 2015,
mm,
and we and a couple of young people back in 2015 joined together and formed Arab Youth Climate Movement Qatar. And that's how Arab Youth Climate Movement Qatar was all of us formed, and it was very new. People are unsure about what we're talking, and things changed when I got a chance to go to COP21, which
okay.
was like the ideal year where Paris Agreement was written, and I came up with like a lot of information.
Mm,
It was even overwhelming for me to understand so much of political things behind that, where young people stand, our voice matters. All things were something very new to me, and COP21 changed me personally. And I came back and I told my team how we are so different. Nobody has the sort of thing what we are trying to do
mm,
would be great. I mean, okay, things then got worse because we are living in a country where you don't have some sort of social groups doesn't really make a big difference because the government does much of the things, and
mm,
people never mind that environmental issues like climate change is something a huge topic in
mm,
2015. But
mm,
now you can see a lot of groups are coming up, so relevance also makes difference. So we are still relevant as a youth group. Some things which changed over the past was a social group of a couple of young people. Today, we
yeah.
are one of the only registered youth-led NGO in the state of Qatar.
Wow, the only one? Wow, that's lovely.
Being a small country, 2.3 million,
Oh,
and
okay, okay.
it's a small country, small population, and
Yes.
also the fact that there isn't any environmental groups who are officially registered. There are a couple
Mm,
of non-profit groups which are just like us back in
yeah,
2015,
yeah.
but also we have a strict social organization. Really don't get registered easily. You have to go through a lot of you know a lot of hurdles to
Process?
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not easy. Like it's not a democratic country. It's absolute monarchy. So
Mm,
there's issues
mm,
which is obviously as long as they feel you are the right thing, you will
mm,
get registered, and we did it. Obviously,
mm,
they felt this organization would add knowledge to the country, and absolutely what that's our idea. And yes, it was a bit struggle to get registered, but
mm,
we're happy we are registered, and we showcased what we could do, and that's why we
mm,
are registered. This is a simple
mm.
bottom.
Awesome, great. But what then do you do? What are some of the projects and thematic areas that you focus on?
Well, basically, we've been always working on an environmental advocacy from point of
Actually, what
education,
that's
which
our
was
idea. And yes, it was a
so.
bit struggle to get registered, sure. But we're happy we are registered. And sorry, we showcased what we could do, and that's why we are registered. This is a simple.
I can hear myself.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Go, please go.
So technical issues, which
Yeah.
quite often. So we started with a lot of advocacy programs to reach out to young community.
Mm,
What problem we faced in the beginning was the same problem many people now started realizing. Okay, now we have all this Fridays for Future and stuff back in days
yeah.
now. So what we thought was, how can we bring young people behind this climate movement? And that was the
Mm,
real idea. So what we
mm,
did was going to schools and universities, hold programs telling, hey guys, we are a new group. We
mm,
are working on climate advocacy, climate programs. Do you want to be part of? A lot of reluctance. Young people felt, oh, no, I don't have time. I don't think this is something something would give me a sort of, sort of a platform to do some great work. But now, everybody is sending us a mail. Can I join a part of being your NGO? Because, now relevance has changed from 2015 to 2020. So that's how the change happened. And we're happy that how people started realizing the importance of climate issues. And the biggest part, the youth role in that, especially in
Yeah.
climate education and awareness building. So we started with a program in 2017 called something like you guys did, Earth
Okay.
Talk series, where we
Okay.
invite international speakers to come to Qatar and speak to public. Yes, Nishad, what is that big difference? Yes, a lot of people used to come to Qatar, but that's very academic. And they are very confined to universities.
Okay.
Me, as a public, will not get access to university to attend those events, you know? So what
Oh.
we did was we did this program in collaboration with Qatar National Library in a public library place,
Okay.
and we invited everybody we know.
Mm.
So we started with a professor from Manchester, who is now also our advisory board member. Uh, I mean, frankly speaking, Tosin, only 10 people attended our first event. 10
Only
people, mark
10
my word.
people.
2019, we
Mm.
hosted, I'm just
Mm.
seeing the thing,
Mm.
2019, we
Mm.
hosted the Deputy Executive Secretary of UNFCCC here in Doha.
Oh,
Number of people,
really?
500 plus, and no place to sit. So this is
Mm.
the
Mm.
transformation from
Mm.
2017 to
Mm.
2019.
Mm. Mm.
And I mean, obviously, I mean, the conversation has went far, and
Mm.
also our relevance in the nation
Mm.
and in the region and globally. Now, if you ask Arabic climate movement in Qatar, most of them know, obviously, with our networks
Mm.
and the connections we created over the years. So what we did was our programs. The Earth Talks was one of the first programs we did,
Yeah.
and recently we came up with more innovative programs to reach out to community. And one of the program was Measure Your Carbon Footprint Initiative. Eco literacy for imams. Imams are the priests at the mosque, like you
Oh,
have in.
yeah. Okay,
So
that's true.
this was also a part of my a Green Faith Fellowship program.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I couldn't continue, but yes, somewhere around the program is still alive. I mean, yes, part of not being part of the fellowship, still this program is live, and we submitted this proposal to the religious head of the government, who said this is an absolutely amazing project, and we were supposed to do with a couple of mosques here in Qatar, mostly English-speaking ones, before COVID hit us. So we have to drop all idea because mosques were all closed, all the religious prayer places were closed.
Mm.
So this is something a pandemic impact on our advocacy program. Another
Mm.
program who I mentioned was to work on. Um, uh, it's called the household carbon footprint measurement. It's sort of like a survey-based activity
Yeah.
where students in high schools will be taking a survey to measure their footprint, and it will be calculated on the background. They just have to fill the numbers.
Okay.
And this program, we collaborate with UNESCO office in Doha, and will be doing with almost every school with the support of Ministry of Education here in Qatar.
Okay.
So this is another program we are working. Then we have eco trips where we want to people to take back to the nature, understanding the natural wonders of Qatar, because people are very fond of traveling here to
Mm.
Europe and Africa to see
Mm.
beautifulness and amazing things in their countries,
Mm.
but
Mm.
forgetting our country's natural beauty. And what COVID did, exactly what we were trying to do pre-COVID, is like showcasing the local wonders. They say, "Wow, our beaches were so beautiful. I never realized." I'm like, yeah,
Mm.
it's been always now because of the lockdown. You don't travel. There's no planes.
Mm.
People realize, wow, my country is such a beautiful country. Yes, only
Mm.
thing you didn't realize. So I think
Mm.
now that program would get a big jump up because people realize the eco
Mm.
trips. Now
Mm.
probably our trip would be not just going to some important natural resources to show, but
Yeah.
also to have someone lead and say what is important. Okay, there's a beautiful mangroves in Qatar. People go as just a leisure trip. We would make an
Okay.
information or education trip. So
Yeah.
that's the program on eco trips. We are working on more campaigns on media, using cinemas to send some short videos talking about environmental issues, which you may not feel. Example, some of the questions we felt over the years is that,
Mm.
Nishad, what is climate change in our country? I don't feel it.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
the biggest question I addressed.
Mm.
Like, okay, in Bangladesh, flooding. Oh, people die in flooding.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
forest fires in California. And
Mm.
when I say somebody like, hey, climate change is happening, yeah, I know. I saw
Mm.
the forest fires and I
Mm.
saw the heat wave in Europe. What about us? I mean, where is that question about us? Doesn't
Mm.
come. Guys, our country is in a very tropical, hot country. Doesn't mean that our country is not going through the heat wave. You don't feel it because
Mm.
we are extremely luckily, happily living in air conditioned homes because we are already in a tropical country. Our country is having hotness as long as we know, but the level and intensity is increasing year by year, which you don't feel because of your indoors.
mm,
Ask a person who is working outdoor. They
mm,
may say,
mm.
2015, I can work 3 hours in the sun. Now I cannot work even 1 hour. He
Really?
knows what exactly it looks like. He's the
Mm,
person you should ask what is the intensity of the
mm,
sunlight is changing,
mm, mm,
and also the extreme weather events. Recently in
mm,
2019 or 20, I cannot recall the
mm,
date. Qatar and some of the Gulf countries received extreme rain, and these are the countries known to receive least rain in the world. Suddenly,
mm,
has the Qatar got rain. I can precisely say Qatar got rain for that complete year in
yeah.
1 hour, and the city was flooding. City was flooding.
A whole
I said,
1 year rain
what,
one day,
one
one
hour,
hour.
1 hour. It literally flooded the country because, again, that is a big question. Are our infrastructure ready to meet extreme weather events? No. The underpasses, they're filled with water. Why? There wasn't any way to take out the water from the underpasses, because if you
Mm,
ask the contractor, why didn't you make it? Come on, man, Qatar, it will not rain. Why will I have to make? No, this is what something they
mm,
have to do. Infrastructure should look into
mm,
the perspective of
mm,
how the future and the climate would look here in Qatar or
mm,
everywhere. Climate
mm,
part should be part of the infrastructure development or development of any
mm,
country, nevertheless. So that
mm,
also opened, and people are flooding, cars were
mm,
drowned, and people started asking even the
mm.
banks, do I do this cover in my insurance? They said no. Extreme weather events and such rains are not part of insurance. You
Wow.
remember last year, the big banks started putting extreme weather events as a part of your insurance claims, because this is going to be a new norm in the
Mm,
world, not just in
mm,
Qatar. So
mm,
that's how the things have been changed. The conversation has changed tremendously over the last many years. And we as an organization still working on with young people, not only building environmental education within the youth community, but also elderly community, and also trying to develop sort of conversation with the government, telling them the role of young people. Even that changed in a big way, Tosin. Or what I would say was, like, we as a very small organization in 2016, 17, and we were trying to look for some funds to do programs, which is a very difficult task here. It's not easy to get funds, but extremely grateful to the team members who self-funded. That's not very easy thing, self-funded, so that they believed in the organization that this would be a big game changer in the country as a young people led young organization having a lot of potential. Maybe you will not see everything together, but step by step in the future we would love to be the called local thing to do tag, because most of the time our work would be either given to some of the consultancy outside who have no idea of our example. Take the infrastructure constructions. Most of the countries who does that would be big consultants. They say beautiful, they drew a beautiful underpass without taking the climatic condition, not present, future. This is a big problem. If you don't understand the country, oh, they don't. What about this country? Oh, it doesn't rain. But I would say there is rain, but the climatic condition looks like in the future there might be rain. That's the IPCC prediction says. Even in the Arab countries, extreme weather would be a new norm, and heat wave may be very high. That some of the concrete you put even may melt. And there were stories road were melting in some of the countries in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq. I mean, this would be new norm. And this, keeping in this mind, I mean, our work has been always trying to get young people on board. And we were grateful last year for the first time for the first UN Youth Summit. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Energy, Environment and Municipality, the government here invited our organization to officially represent the state of Qatar's youth at the summit. And I mean, that should be the proudest moment. And after the summit, we were also grateful to meet His Highness, the King of Qatar at the summit, who was also a speaker, along with French President Emmanuel Macron, and Jamaica, who is part of climate finance and who are supporting underdeveloped countries too, and Qatar announcing $100 million for developing countries to mitigate their climate issues. And we just got to meet outside the summit, UN Hall, and that was like a big moment for the team, because that was a big acknowledgement of what we're doing. Even though we thought, I mean, we are not outreaching. I mean, somebody's observing even our smallest work. So we are grateful how we have been acknowledged, but people doesn't see that. I mean, we didn't do everything last year, Tosin. It was like 2015 to 2020. It's like a 5 years time. And people just see, hey, you guys are very active. When did you start? Last year? Like everybody. When did Fridays for Your Future start? Last year. They're quite famous. They all have verified Twitter account and Instagram account. Very good. because you are in an open democracy. Everything is open. You can talk anything or criticize anything. But I mean, almost you can do great stuff. And I'm a big fan of Greta Thunberg. I met her in 2019. As such a humble woman. But again, people should be mindful of countries which are not exactly their same cultural
Mm.
perspective, governance practice perspective. Even I heard this question last year in 2019 at the COP. Like, Michelle, why are you not organizing any public protest? Not knowing that in my country, public protest is completely
Mhm.
banned, unconstitutional. So
Mm.
they don't understand. It's
Mm.
become. I'm
Mm.
not being critical, but it is a fact. The whole climate youth movement
Mm.
super became super hypocritical, and they have no contest of other region. They just make
Mm.
comments,
Mm.
and not knowing that the other part of the youth also contribute a lot, because
Mm.
they are feeling and suffering the impact of climate now, especially youth from Bangladesh, youth from India, and some of
Mm.
the very underprivileged African nations are facing this to day-to-day basis. And then you see all these extraordinary young people taking the lead when they really don't feel a day-to-day basis. But we are grateful they're building that movement. Definitely grateful, but also they need to be understanding that the scenarios in their countries are very limited, but still
Mm.
they are advocating for that change, and they
Mm.
should be appreciated, and also it should be acknowledged. I mean, not only our government, but regionally and
Mm.
globally. This is something for me I have been doing from 2015,
Mm.
representing not only Qatar or Qatari
Mm.
youths, but the
Mm.
region, the Middle East, Arab region.
Mm.
How many people, Tosin, you know from the Arab region advocating? I know many. I know more
Mm.
than you know, Tosin. But
Mm.
how many are at the
Mm.
level we would say this
Mm.
guy is representing the region? All these young people are
Mm.
representing the region. You have one. You will have every leader in every European country and
Mm.
every city in the United States
Mm.
advocating for climate advocacy, and there must be a star or stardom beyond whatever it
Mm.
is.
Mm.
But you will find somewhere around that, the change from global north to global south.
Mm.
It's You can see that division at the very highest level these days, and I feel grateful for them for one thing, that they're highlighting that to a very high level. But for us, we don't feel highlighted. Also,
Mm.
not
Mm.
highlighting us as an impact locally. That when
Yeah.
we are not highlighted, the
Mm.
government feels okay. We don't have any pressure. If you take any European
Mm.
country, when these kids are on the street, and government like, we have to be serious. There's a lot of media attention to these kids. For
Yeah.
us, no media attention. Nobody gives a damn about us. Government feels okay. Our part of the world, they are not going to showcase our stories.
Mm.
So they feel safe, not us. I mean,
Mm.
the what does that do? Why you feel, oh, why do you want to be on the media? The idea is to put pressure on the government. How
Mm.
can we put pressure on the government? Is that you talk about that. You say the country is only thinking about this and not doing it.
Mm.
Public is demanding it, government is not achieving it. So,
Mm.
that puts a lot of pressure on the government to act. And that's
Mm.
why media presence and having such interviews and having sort of young people's views are very important, not matter of Qatar or any Gulf countries. In any country, putting pressure on the government is through media,
Mm.
maybe social media, print media, or online media. It plays a crucial role. We cannot undermine their role. So, yeah, this is
Oh.
something I felt over the years of my climate advocacy, that the region is still very much underrepresented,
Mm.
either at any conference. And I mean, this at some point when I was in 2015, it was whole of global south. The whole
Yeah.
narrative of climate change was global north.
Mm.
Then global south got the precedence, but
Mm.
I felt after the global south got the precedence, we from the Arab world are still behind the stories. That something would change. Maybe one or two are there, but I would see that change. I like how our colleagues and friends from the African region are now leading a lot of movements, and I'm very happy. And that also gives me a lot of motivation that if not today, tomorrow we would be doing that, because they also
Definitely.
were suffering the same what we were doing. But
Definitely.
within the global south, there are more things to change over the years, and I'm definitely seeing that changes would happen.
Awesome, good. It's quite wonderful wealth of ideas and experiences, and I saw I want to play shortly, like for 2 minutes, a background overview of climate change impact in the Middle East, and that's going to lead me to my next
Excellent.
question. So let me quickly just share this with you, and we'll watch it together. Then we'll discuss about this shortly. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, great. You're welcome back, Nishad.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's
Well, I
been
mean,
quite
yeah,
resourceful question.
this is very, but I can guess the questions like the region do face some of the gravest impacts of climate change in
Yes.
terms of water,
Mm,
agriculture, and
mm,
employment.
mm.
But still, have you seen the region on the mainstream? You don't see MENA
So,
region on the
what is
mainstream.
missing, Nishad?
Again, not having a much of the global say. Why are we don't have much of young people from the region sharing their concerns from the region? Where is the MENA region young people? Where is MENA region leaders? The
Mm,
region is facing such acute problem, but our region is only known for the war in Yemen, the problem of Iran and Saudi Arabia,
mm,
Israeli issues,
mm,
war in Syria, war in
mm,
Iraq,
mm,
Sudan, South Sudan,
mm,
Egypt having issues with border countries, Israel,
mm,
Israeli-Palestinian issue.
mm,
This is the issue the region faces. And this is another way of the regional governments to, you know, hide behind these issues the real problem of climate change and unemployment.
mm,
That's why you only see the stories. What the media want to show is that the region is suffering from calamities of man-made war and the border issues and the GCC crisis within the Qatar and the real nearby countries. But the real context of the climate issues is sometimes undermined
mm.
because of all these news which we hear on the mainstream media. How can you change, Nishad? If that's the next question, if I
Yeah,
expect, how can, that's only change when you give those young people the platform to talk. If
but the
there
young
are
people have social media these days, and that's very powerful. And if
yes,
it's well
but
coordinated,
yeah, man, you're right, Tosin. But when you see some issues happen in some of the countries in Lebanon, or if it has happened in Turkey
yeah.
or in Egypt, the first thing they block is social media.
Mm,
So even even if they are trying to showcase the issues of not having a proper civil society to showcase the country's issues, the many problems like unemployment and education are overwhelmingly important, and even livelihood. So the whole climate stories get behind the mainstream media. And even if the young people would, if I ask somebody from Jordan or Syria to join the climate movement, they would say, I would look for a job. You know,
mm,
that's important. I say having a right policy at the right place, getting jobs would be easy if we are putting infrastructure for renewables. When the country invests in renewables, there will be not only having a greener country, but also having green jobs.
mm,
Having more sustainable way of agriculture will not only sustain agriculture or produce food security in the region, but also farming is a big industry. Like you said, amount of people relying on agriculture as a source of income is huge in the Middle East and North Africa. This can only be done when you are having a right source of sustainable agriculture. From the conventional, put a lot of water and a lot of chemicals, and you just do that doesn't work because extreme weather is having severe impact. The more heating, it's having more impact on the agricultural system. What this region can do is learn a lot of capacity building from other countries
okay.
and having a lot of local and international collaboration and cooperation would definitely help this region in countering or mitigating climate issues. But again, given the fact that most of the countries in the region are not in good terms, that's another issue.
Mm,
So
that's
local
very
collaboration is, yeah, that's an issue. That's a serious issue, that there is no technology transfer, there is no capacity building between the nations. If
mm,
at all there is a huge renewable or solar based system is generated, excess power cannot be shared with the main grid
mm,
because the other
mm,
country is an enemy country, you will not supply, so excess energy would be wasted. So
mm,
like you said, a couple of the countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar are very ambitious in their renewable goals, unlike Morocco being the leader in terms of renewables. That scenario is changing, and also this is creating more jobs in the coming days. But there's also the scenario of young people looking forward for jobs beyond oil and gas industries. It's a very welcoming move, but they're not in the news. And if
mm.
you only these changes are happening on the local, when you really Google it, because there is no one source of information. There is no one place where you go and find the information for the Middle East and North Africa. Even though the region is so vast, so diverse, so divided,
Mm,
the region is nowhere in the global site, either from based from youth advocacy or the work of research and academia, and also even though they're doing great work, they're not highlighted. They're not
mm, mm. Hello, Nisha. You're frozen. If you can hear me, you're frozen. Hello, Nisha. If you can hear me, you're frozen. Yeah, can you hear me now?
yeah, perfect, perfect.
So
I think
you were frozen at some point.
yeah, I don't know why it was. So, well, the conversation can only change if you really see a lot of young people taking up climate advocacy to the mainstream. Like you mentioned, social media is a great tool. My always request to the international partners to support those initiatives. They may face funding issues, and they are really don't get any funding to do their project, to make it from a school-based project or university-based project to a
Mm,
reality, but they have a great potential. And our region, young people have tremendous potential. And only thing is they need a support, not only
mm,
financial, but also getting them the platform to do that. And
mm.
also putting them in touch with right industries sometime.
Yeah. Yeah.
So moving forward, I would suggest international partners to work with our youth from the Arab world. Middle East and North Africa is a quite young region, and having almost 70 to 80% of 90% of our young generation below 25 years of old are 70 to 60 to 70. And so you have a great potential of young people joining that bandwagon to support
Yeah.
climate action. Educating them would be the right tool, and having them well informed using all means of social media, all means of platform to reach out to them would be a concrete way to reach
Mm,
out and extract those potential. And this region need such great scenario for going forward. And this would not only bring the Middle East region on a forefront for climate action, and
yes.
also on the negativity of the news is what you see. You know, the region are cooperating; they are number one in the Middle East, working together, sharing the grid,
Mm,
supporting one another in capacity building. So going forward, I am very optimistic. Our young people, with or without the support of global North or other
yeah.
partners, they
Yeah.
would achieve.
Mm,
Only that time consuming, because they might have to do it everything off their own, but they would be there in some day. And I'm sure, because the potential and their talent I have personally seen, and that world has yet to see, and hopefully you will see very soon.
awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Nisha. It's been a wonderful time with you today. I think apparently there's so much to talk about. There's so much wealth of
Yeah,
experiences and frustration. Like I see you want to share, that you really want to pour out there, and you're doing awesomely well. And what I just want to do is try to see other opportunities of collaborating together, getting your words out, getting some of these you know ways that your voices and the work you do can be more amplified, more visible, beyond just the region you represent. And in conclusion, I usually like to leave with a word of like sort of prayer to you, good wish, and and also goodwill. And it reads that also to say thank you, Nishad.
thank you,
And the
Joseph. I'm
poem
extremely important. Thank you very much.
the poem reads that we give thanks to for all those who moved in their lives to heal and to protect the earth in small ways and in large ways. Blessings on the composters, the gardeners, the breeders of worm and the mushroom, the soil builders, those who cleanse the water and purify the air, all those who clean up the messes others have made. Blessing on all those who defend the trees, who plant trees, who guard the forest and who renew the forest. Blessing on all those who learn to heal the grassland and renew the streams. On all those who prevent erosion, who restore the salmon and the fishes, who guard the healing herbs, who know the laws of the wild plants. Blessing on all those who heal the cities and bring them alive again with excitement and creativity and love. Gratitude and blessing to all who stand against greed, who risk themselves, to those who have bled and who have been wounded, and to those who have given their lives in the service of the planet. Thank you so much, Nishad, for what you do. Yeah, I mean, the impact can only be imagined. And like you said, it was just like less than 6 years, and this is where you are today, and it's just the right step in the right way. And the cloud is a stepping stone. Nothing stops your way and your
Yeah,
progress. But I'm so glad that you decided to share your story with us today. But I know there's still what we just got today is just like a tip of the iceberg. We'll look
yeah,
for another opportunity in the near future to talk
definitely,
more, to take it forward.
definitely. Thank you,
Mm,
Justin. I mean, it's been very important and great support from you to highlight our stories and our region. Thank
mm,
you for considering us in your Climate Tube initiative, a great initiative. I
mm,
want to congratulate you on that and thank you for the prayers.
mm,
I hope that resonates not only here, every part of the world. We
mm,
need such great prayers, and we're going through a very huge pandemic, and I hope everybody recovers and
mm.
also see that this is the right way. A lot of realization has come up during the COVID. I think that should be a positive energy for everybody, not only us and the governments, to act on the right way. And we hope people would be mindful of the nature, mindful of our community, and do things in a positive way for the positive world, and where everybody can live in coexistence.
Thank you so much, Nisha. And thank you so much, viewers, for joining us today. And next week, again, we'll have another opportunity to listen to another global environmental champion, just like nature. Nisha, so thank you so much and continue the good work. And bye bye.
Bye bye.